Opa, vocês estão bem? Sim, o que vocês leram no título desse vídeo é exatamente o que aconteceu. Eu entrevistei o lendário diretor David Zucker, de Apertem os Cintos, o Piloto Sumiu, Corra que a Polícia Vem aí, Todo Mundo em Pânico e mais uma pá de filme que vocês já assistiram. Além desses filmes, ele dirigiu e escreveu a minha comédia preferida de todos os tempos, Top Secret. Caras, quando eu era criança, eu enchia tanto o saco do meu pai pra alugar Top Secret, que ele achou melhor comprar a fita do que ficar alugando toda semana. Eu queria muito ter uma máquina do tempo pra poder voltar 40 anos atrás, pegar o Elderzinho, sentadinho ali, assistindo Top Secret na TVzinha dele de 14 polegadas e falar: cara, um dia você vai entrevistar o cara que fez esse filme. E o Elderzinho ia falar: mãe, socorro, tem um homem doido no meu quarto. E eu, puf, voltava para 2026 cheio de trauma novo. Mas não é disso que a gente veio falar aqui. Vamos para a entrevista depois da vinheta.
One of the things I admire most about your work is the way you treat absurdity with complete seriousness. Is this a conscious choice for the very beginning, or is this something you discover work well as you're making your films?
You know, I think we just wanted to do whatever we thought was funny. And we started out, we would watch serious television shows and movies, and we would just kind of put in our own words to make it funny, because I started out with my brother and Jim Abrams, and I think we just had this kind of theme about our lives that and personalities that we didn't take anything seriously. And that's how we were in high school, that's how we were in college, and we always wanted to make fun of things. So that's pretty much how the style developed. And the way our style was different was not to try to be funny, but to take the exact scene from a movie or TV show and have the actors do our lines, but not try to be funny. And that's why we have this rule called Jerry Lewis, which we don't want to be Jerry Lewis, although Jerry Lewis was funny, but that's not what we do. We just do comedy with a straight face.
Top Secret was my favorite movie as a kid, and it remains one of my all-time favorites to this day. I always dreamed to see a sequel to this film. Was there ever any real possibility or discussion about that happening?
Yeah, Top Secret is possibly the funniest movie we ever made, and it has the most creative and original and crazy, absurd jokes in it. But I really like to only do things once, and I want to go on to something else. So I think after Airplane, we didn't want to do Airplane 2. We wanted to go out, we wanted to do something original. Somebody did an article about me in a magazine that said something like David Zucker and his relentless pursuit of originality. And I'm very proud of that. And so after Top Secret, we did we did a movie called Ruthless People, which wasn't even a spoof. And after Ruthless People, we did Naked Gun, and I only wanted to do two of them. I didn't want to do the third, so somebody else directed it, and I produced it. I wrote it and produced it with Pat Proft. And the same thing with the scary movies. I did two of them. I was able to be creative and original for two, and then didn't want to do another one. Didn't want to direct another one.
I often post short clips from your movies on my social media, and the audience always responds extremely well to them. What impressed me the most is seeing young people comment that they regret never having had a chance watch movie like yours in theaters. Do you believe the demand for this kind of comment has never really gone away?
I agree that the demand for this kind of comedy has never gone away. However, the theaters are struggling, and the studios are really only making movies that are big event movies, superhero movies, big stars, big budgets, Tom Cruise movies, and I love Tom Cruise movies. But there isn't much room anymore for an original comedy like Airplane was, or like The Naked Gun was, and these are low budget movies, and so the movies that they're doing now, I mean, Paramount just did, Naked Gun 4, but they chose to exclude me from it, and they hired people to do it who didn't know what they were doing, and so that doesn't really qualify as a good comedy. Plus, they just tried to copy what we did 40 years ago, and you just, as I said, I want to pursue originality. I want to do new stuff, and I do have a script that I'm in pre-production with right now. It's a film noir comedy called The Star of Malta, and also the script that would have been Naked Gun 4, but Paramount rejected. That'll be next for me. I'll want to do, it's called Counterintelligence, spelled with one L and a J. I don't know if they'll get that in Brazil, but often our movies are retitled for each individual market. But I'm interested in doing something fresh. I didn't want to try to replace Leslie Nielsen for Naked Gun 4. That's for hacks to do, just copying a 40-year-old idea. So I really sympathize with audiences wanting to have that theater experience where everybody's laughing in the theater, and you don't get that at home on a home screen. So I think comedy will come back if it's done well. If it's done by hacks, it won't be funny, and it'll just further kind of tarnish the allure of comedy, just as this recent Paramount's Naked Gun 4 didn't help things.
In 2025, we saw more comedy films released than in recent years, including a new Naked Gun. Do you think it's possible to make comedy great again?
It's definitely possible to make comedy great again, but not by hacks, trying to do a copy of a movie that's 40 years old. So you can't replace Leslie Nielsen. And that's what I tried to tell Paramount and the producer of that thing. Even though Liam Neeson, who is the star of Naked Gun 4, fine actor. Pam Anderson is a wonderful actress, wonderful person. I've worked with her. It's a fool's errand, as they say, to try to copy something that's 40 years old and try to replace Leslie Nielsen. So that's why I'm interested in the relentless pursuit of originality, as they said in that magazine article.
Your president is quite a peculiar character. Aerodynamic hair, or skin, speeches and behavior that sometimes feel like they came straight out of one of your movies. Do you think figures like that is easier or harder to make a political satire, given that reality is already so absurd?
Well, back in the 70s, they used to make fun of President Nixon, who was had that serious thing, and he was, but that became too easy. We never made those kind of jokes. We didn't really do political humor. Saturday Night Live does Trump stuff, but you can't make fun of Trump because he's already funny. I think he's tremendously funny, and the other thing, if I may say, I think he's a great president. So it's hard for me to criticize him, except that he's crazy, but because he's crazy, he's a total original, and I think he's doing very, very good things. But generally, political humor we put in the category of axe grinding, which is kind of a no-no for us. I'm teaching an online course now called Master Crash, and it's one of our rules, the 15 rules.
Here in Brazil, we have an iconic afternoon TV slot called Sessão da Tarde. It's famous for airing higher-rated movies in the afternoon and for repeating the same films over and over. Back in the day, one of your movies would air at least once a month. Because of this, it's practically impossible to see a Brazilian adult who hasn't seen at least one of your films. Have you ever had any experience with or heard anything about Brazil or the popularity of your movies here?
I think from time to time, I read a news article or I get something on my Instagram of somebody from Brazil being a fan. But, we have a lot of fans in Brazil, and I'm very proud of that. And I'm very proud of all of our international fan base. I mean, our movies are very, and I'm talking about the movies I've done with Pat Proft and my brother Jerry and Jim Abrams, of course. And the movies are all very visual. They don't depend on only American things. They're not political. The stories are good, and that's one thing that I'm teaching in my course is the importance of story over gags. So, we get comments from Europe, from South America, from Central America, from Australia, all over the world. People see our movies because I think people share the references. If you've seen a airport or any kind of disaster movie, you're in tune with the supposed seriousness of these movies, and we're pointing out that some of these movies are kind of stupid. So we can be more stupid than these movies, and that's how we make our jokes.
Before I share one last personal story, I'd love to know what projects are you currently working on? And there any exciting plans for the future you could share?
Very exciting. I'm working on mastercrash.com. That's my online course in spoof comedy with a lot of surprising things, and that's mainly to counter, what's been happening in comedy where people are like the Naked Gun 4 Paramount movie trying to copy something 40 years old. I've been over that. I've got a script, The Star of Malta, which I have in pre-production. I have the script that would have been Naked Gun 4, which is now called Counterintelligence, and that will be after Star of Malta. And I'm also doing a movie for Germany, which is an Amazon movie called Oktoberfest, which we're working on the script right now, and so that will be that's in the works already, and that's going to be made. So I'm busier than I've ever been, and I'm very excited about all my projects.
To wrap up, I want to share a personal story connected to one of your films. There's a scene in Top Secret where Nicky Reeves at school realizes there's a test he didn't study for and panic, only to wake up and realize it's just a nightmare and that he is only being tortured. As a kid, I laughed incredibly hard of that scene. In my teenage years, I laughed a lot less when I started to have similar nightmares myself. Now, at 45, I still have the same recurrent nightmare from time to time. And when I wake up relieved, I laugh even harder remembering that scene. Because it's funnier to me now than ever.
Okay, let me say that is also one of my favorite scenes. I love that joke because everybody, it seems, from age 30 and up has had that nightmare that somehow they're still back in school and they're facing a test and they haven't gone to class all year. So that's just one of those crazy jokes. You can't find that in any other types of movies. You can't find a joke of that level in a Naked Gun 4. They don't know what they're doing. And so interesting to see people trying to copy it without knowing the rules. But fortunately, if you go to mastercrash.com, you can join. It's a free community. You don't have to pay anything to join. And it's just go sign up with mastercrash.com, and we would love to have you.
Okay, so I have to know, did that scene come from a personal experience of yours?
Well, that joke with the nightmare about being in school, that absolutely came from my personal experience, but it's not unique to me. Everybody has that nightmare. So I have had recurring nightmares. I don't know if it's been recently, but boy, I'm back in school and I haven't studied for the test. And I haven't, not only that, I haven't been to class. So I don't know why that's extreme education anxiety, but everybody has it. So I'm very, very proud of that joke and The other joke I'm proud of, I love the joke. Well, of course, I like nice beaver.
Nice beaver.
Thank you. I just had it stuffed.
Let me help you with that.
But also, you know, in Airplane, when they say, this patient has extreme shell shock, he thinks he's Ethel Merman, and you cut to, and it's actually Ethel Merman. If anybody knows who Ethel Merman was anymore.
What's his problem?
It's Lieutenant Hurwitz. Severe shell shock. Thinks he's Ethel Merman.
You'll be swell. You'll be great. Gonna have the whole world on a plate. Starting here, starting now. Honey, everything's coming up.
War is hell.
But it's still a lot of jokes that I remember and I'm proud of. And there will be hopefully many more. If studios and financiers will give an opportunity to an old person.
Pessoal, essa foi a entrevista. Muito obrigado por terem assistido. Quem sabe se esse vídeo repercutir legal, a gente não faz outra. Então deixa aí nos comentários uma pergunta que você gostaria de fazer pro David Zucker. Quem sabe eu não faça a sua pergunta para ele numa entrevista dessas. Vou deixar aqui no primeiro comentário todas as redes sociais dele. Sigam porque vale a pena pra caramba. E fiquem com Deus e tchau.